Professor William Liebenberg has often said that global financial change doesn't begin with headlines, it begins with standards. Today, three powerful forces are converging at the same moment: ISO 20022, the Clarity Act, and the Stable Voyage Act. Each one fixes a different weakness in the old financial system, and together they create the conditions for a new digital settlement world. And right at the center of this transition sits XRP. Most people understand ISO 20022 and the Clarity Act, but very few ask the real question: what exactly is the Stable Voyage Act? What problem does it solve? How does it influence cross-border liquidity and global settlement standards? And most importantly, does this new legislation strengthen or weaken the case for XRP? Today we unpack these three pillars and show how they fit together. ISO 20022 is not a small upgrade. It is a complete rewiring of how information flows across the global financial system. For decades, banks communicated using short, rigid messages that could not carry the detailed data required by a modern digital economy. That limitation created delays, manual work, compliance bottlenecks, and fragmentation between countries. ISO 20022 eliminates that. Under the new standard, messages become rich, structured, programmable, and machine-readable. Payments include metadata such as identity details, compliance checks, purpose codes, settlement instructions, and even smart contract triggers. This allows artificial intelligence to read payment flows, enables instant reconciliation, and unifies banks, fintechs, and corporates under one global language. Once the rails become intelligent, the next step is choosing the most efficient asset to move liquidity across them. This is where XRP fits naturally. ISO 20022 creates the communication layer, but it does not provide the liquidity layer. The world still needs a neutral, fast, low-cost settlement asset that can bridge currencies without pre-funding. XRP is engineered exactly for that purpose. It settles in seconds, scales globally, and integrates directly with RippleNet, which has been ISO-ready long before most banks even began migrating. As financial messaging converges, liquidity gravitates toward the asset offering the highest efficiency. XRP is positioned for that role. The Clarity Act addresses a completely different challenge: legal uncertainty. For years, institutions avoided digital assets not because the technology was weak, but because regulations were unclear. The Clarity Act solves this by giving digital assets formal categories such as commodities, payment tokens, utility tokens, and tokenized securities. For institutions that move trillions of dollars daily, clear definitions are non-negotiable. XRP aligns perfectly with the Act's definition of a non-security payment token. It carries no equity rights, no dividends, no voting power. It performs a functional role in settlement. That makes it one of the few digital assets legally suitable for institutional cross-border operations. With this clarity, banks suddenly gain permission to use digital liquidity without risking securities violations. Corridors that were blocked by legal uncertainty begin to open. So, now the question becomes, what about stable value assets? How do tokenized dollars, tokenized commodities, and institutional stablecoins operate safely in a global environment? This is the gap filled by the Stable Voyage Act. It provides the rules for reserve backing, custody, transparency, redemption guarantees, and cross-border movement of institutional stable assets. Without such standards, the system cannot scale. With standards, it becomes stable and global. The Stable Voyage Act is not just about retail stablecoins like USDC or USDT. It focuses on the future of bank-grade, government-grade, and corporate-grade stable liquidity. These assets will carry value across digital networks, but they cannot bridge every pair of currencies on their own. That is not their purpose. A neutral settlement token is still required to translate value between systems, ledgers, and regions. That neutral translator is XRP. The Stable Voyage Act formalizes stable value instruments, but XRP connects them. Stablecoins move the value. XRP performs the conversion. Stablecoins reduce volatility. XRP provides the liquidity bridge. Regulations create safety. XRP creates interoperability. This combination is exactly what a global instant settlement system requires. When you place ISO 20022, the Clarity Act, and the Stable Voyage Act side by side, a clear structure forms. One creates the communication standard, one creates the legal framework, one creates the stable liquidity foundation. Together they form the architecture for the next financial era, and XRP becomes the settlement engine moving value across all three layers. This isn't speculation, it is structural alignment. So when people wonder whether XRP will matter in the new financial system, the answer is in the architecture itself. The world is moving toward tokenized value, programmable payments, standardized messaging, and institutionally regulated stable assets. Every piece of that design requires a neutral, fast, dependable bridge asset. As these laws and standards activate, XRP is already standing in the center, ready to perform the role it was built for.